Hey everybody, thank you very much for joining me for the 10-minute daily update where I will tell you everything that I think is important to know in less than 10 minutes. Welcome to my channel. My name is Philicon for those that are new. Used to be a mechanical engineer back in my past, but decided to leave that to pursue crypto full time. I've been investing and day trading in the crypto markets for over 9 years now, and I believe that it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made. So let's jump right into it. And today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin halving event and also the ROI after that. So let's talk about the three halvings that have occurred back in 2012, 2016, and 2020. What we know is that Bitcoin has a halving cycle every 4 years. And ever since then, it's always acted as an anchor point for how long the Bitcoin bull market cycle is. Or overall, there's a 4 year cycle that goes from the bull market to the bear market to the year after the bear market, and then the year before the bull market begins, and then eventually a bull market year. So it's always been like that for 4 years, every single cycle since the beginning of the conception of Bitcoin. And you can see that in 2012, Bitcoin's halving was actually later into the year. But what we can notice from the Bitcoin halving in 2012 is that there's a period of accumulation for about 42 days. And there wasn't a drop afterwards, though, in 2012. And then if we take a look at 2016, okay, actually before that, we jump to that, you have to notice that during this accumulation period, right after it ends, the bull market really starts to pick up and a major parabolic rally occurs. So in 2013, this bull market ended up doing something like 3,000% almost, which is unreal. And then in 2016, of course, we're not going to have nearly as high of an ROI because as time goes by, the market cap for both crypto and Bitcoin increases, the ROI potential is going to be diminished. And we call this diminishing returns. That's why I firmly believe that this particular cycle is going to be one of the last opportunities and the last cycles before major regulation comes into play for anybody to make any type of substantial profit. That's why it's very important for you to understand and watch till the end of this video to get a really good idea of how Bitcoin behavior has been historically and how it can also help us make predictions in the future as well. So we see that in 2016, the halving was at a different period. It was actually in July, but after the halving occurred, a major dip occurred of about 30%. So that was more of a black swan event, you can say, because from the top here, it did fall about 40%. But what we need to understand firmly is that for any bull market to be successful, there are going to be periods of major dips. A lot of the newer traders and investors, they're unable to withstand these types of dips because they end up just selling everything at the bottom. And then when it starts to rally, they buy back in. That's why it's incredibly crucial to adopt specific strategies that can help you capitalize long term with Bitcoin. For example, my particular strategy is diamond hands and also buying on a dip while understanding exit criterias for when Bitcoin could potentially top out. For example, myself, I plan to exit the market. The latest I'll be in the market is most likely September to October of next year, because if time has taught us anything, it's that Bitcoin has averaged about 540 days of a major bull market rally after the Bitcoin halving period occurs. So what we see here, just as an example, after the Bitcoin halving occurs here, we see that it took about 525 days to reach an all-time high here. But what we also see is that despite this large drop occurring, after that, there is a period of about 2 months of consolidation and accumulation. And then after that accumulation period, just like in 2012, we ended up rallying to the upside substantially. So what we can conclude from both 2012 and 2016 is that maybe a drop may occur, maybe it won't, maybe it will. But either way, there's a major period of accumulation that leads to a huge rally that hits another major all-time high. And then what we can see in 2020, from the halving to the all-time high, is it also took a period of roughly 500 something days. So you can see here, this one took 545 days. Unlike 2016, it took 525 days. So if you just do a basic time analysis and you take a look at the halving period that's coming, we'll just say April 22nd, and then we average it out to say 530 days, what we're gonna see is that October is the latest that this bull market could likely rally up until, based off of historical data. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to stay this way, but what it does show is that it's behaved that way in the past. And another thing that we see off of this Bitcoin halving period is that after it occurs, there is another major period of accumulation of about 60, 70 days. And then when this finishes, it starts the major bull market rally. Now, a lot of people know exactly what I'm thinking right now, and you're probably thinking it as well, which is that we actually made another all-time high already prior to the halving. Because in every cycle before the halving, we never actually broke the all-time high. If you take a look here, this halving was not higher than the all-time high. And then if we take a look at the next halving cycle over here, this Bitcoin halving was not higher than that all-time high. So what we see is that this is a very unique time period right now and a very unique cycle where we've actually breached the all-time high already as well. Now, some might argue that because this has actually happened, that we're gonna have a much shorter period of a bull market cycle, or the previous historical data, it's not going to influence how this cycle should play out. It's not going to be the same or equal in any way. And that's certainly possible as well. But I believe that just because we slightly breached the all-time high already, it does not mean that it could not be similar. So there's still a possibility of it being extremely similar. The maximum period, in my opinion, after the halving occurs, I'm just going to draw a box regardless of where it is. Let's just say it's on the 22nd. I would say that you're not going to have that much time. I think the latest that you're going to have to accumulate is probably till the end of June or so. Maybe end of July maximum. That would be generous. In this box, regardless of how high or low the price of Bitcoin is, this box, it represents the accumulation period that we've seen in 2012, in 2016, and also in 2020. This right here is the same accumulation that occurs after the halving, right? You see that. And then we see the same thing as well in 2016, except in 2016, there was a drop afterwards. Okay, but that's fine. If there's a drop, there's still a period of accumulation, and that's your last chance to get in 2016. And then in 2020, it was the exact same thing as well, where there's a period of, this is it, your last chance to get in. And yes, you can get in at Bitcoin or crypto at any price you want. But what I'm specifically referring to is this is going to be your last chance to get in at any reasonable price before the market picks up. So would it be safe to assume that after this Bitcoin halving period occurs, there's going to be a small window for you to buy, because we have to go off of historical data. So the point of this video, if there's one major thing for you to take away from this video, it would be time is running out and you must make a decision one way or another. If you believe it's going to dip further, please understand that this dip may actually never come at all. And even holding out to buy on a dip comes with many risks, because that major risk is you just may never get in crypto at all. So in my opinion, not trying to give you financial advice, is this. If I were to tell my parents, my really good family and friends, if they asked me for advice, when is the best time to get into crypto? Not trying to give you financial advice, but what I would tell my family and my closest friends is the time is coming now and very soon. So if you've enjoyed my content, please hit the like and the subscribe button. Also, if you have not followed me yet on Twitter, make sure that you follow me on Twitter to get the most accessible and most current news immediately. And for those that are looking for an elite group of day traders and a Discord group where you can be kept up with all of the information, make sure you join my Discord group. The price has been heavily discounted from $50 to $35, and there's so much content in here to keep you up to date every single day with the most important news that you need to know. Thank you very much for joining me for the 10-minute daily update. Bye now.